Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Ontario Aquaculture Research Centre. I'm your host, Kaylee Moore, one of the agricultural assistants here at OARC. If you're looking to learn more about aquaculture, you're in the right place. On today's episode, we have University of Guelph PhD student Leah Turner joining us to talk about her current research project looking at the thermal tolerance in rainbow trout. So I am super excited to introduce Leah Turner. Today we are going to be discussing her current research project looking at thermal tolerance in fish. So you currently are doing your PhD with Dr. Roy Dansman at the University of Guelph. Can you kind of start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself, including your research?
Sure. So I came to Guelph to start my PhD in 2018. Prior to that, I did a master's at York University in animal physiology, where I looked at the effect of the intestinal bacteria on nitrogen use in a couple of different wild-caught fish species. And then I started here working in the Dansman lab, where I work on stress tolerance in rainbow trout. So I look at thermal stress and then low oxygen stress and how that affects the fish.
Awesome. So here at AARS, we have been very fortunate to be the rearing facility for your research project. What has been some of your biggest challenges and some of your biggest successes with this project?
I think the biggest challenge was honestly coming into a new field. Like I started with, like I mentioned, physiology, and my project touches on physiology, but also has a big genomics component, which is totally new to me. And then, of course, aquaculture is also totally new to me. So those were two things that I really had to kind of get my head around in the beginning. That was sort of the main thing. And then in terms of successes, I actually was able to, because my fish were housed at Alma, I was actually able to continue my research throughout the lockdown, which was really, really great. So I didn't lose too much in terms of like progress, which was awesome. So I have you guys to thank. And and on that note, I was able to finish a lot of my experiments as well. So that's been great so far. So I'm really pleased with how things are going.
Yeah, it's been really easy that way with being able to keep research projects that we're currently involved with. With the research that you are doing, how relevant is this for the aquaculture industry?
It's incredibly relevant. So currently, there's a lot of stress from increasing temperatures in aquaculture facilities, especially net pens. And that is causing like immune stresses. It's affecting fillet yield, fillet quality. And for example, there was a massive die-off in 2019 out in Newfoundland, and that's at the cost of like all the fish die, waste of time, waste of resources, millions of dollars later. So my work is really looking to address that. And by identifying what makes rainbow trout more thermal tolerant and hypoxia tolerant, hopefully we can find markers in the genome that help fish farmers identify which stocks that they're going to use or like which fish they're going to mate together to make their crosses in a more efficient way and hopefully mitigate some of those losses. Yeah,
it's like as time tells, like it's going to become more and more important for this industry. I don't know if you're able to currently talk about any of your results, or do we need to wait a little bit longer?
I have some preliminary results that I can share. I have just submitted a whole bunch of stuff for sequencing, so I don't have a lot of data ready at the moment, despite having done a bunch of experiments. But one thing that we looked at was the effect of low oxygen and high temperature together. So you usually see those together in nature, but a lot of researchers haven't actually studied those two stressors together. So what we wanted to see was if you were more thermal stress tolerant, if you would also be more tolerant to less oxygen stress, which they've seen in other fish species like sculpins, for example. But we did not find that to be true, which was actually kind of surprising. So stay tuned. There'll be a publication, I'm sure, coming around the bend.
I know a lot of us. I know, like Marcia herself, we were talking about it's exciting to wait and see the results of this study because we've kind of. I know I came in at the end of it, but I know for Marcia and Wes and then they've seen it from the beginning, which I know they're anticipating the results. So, yes. So kind of the last question I have for you is, what advice would you give someone who is considering this type of field of study?
In terms of grad school or in terms of aquaculture?
I think maybe if someone is looking a bit higher, so say someone has already done like aquaculture in college or has done a university program and is looking at maybe a master's or a PhD level type of study.
Yeah, for sure. I think the most important thing is to get really curious about what it is that you're interested in. Like grad school is a big commitment. Like a master's is 2 years, so it's not so bad. A PhD is like at least 4 years usually. And that's a pretty good chunk of time. So if it's not something you're definitely sure about and it's not something you love, you're really going to, I think, struggle. So my advice would be try and get as much exposure to different labs as possible. So talk to different professors, see what different people are studying, talk to the grad students and find out what are some of the challenges and successes that they're experiencing. See if you can get some volunteer positions in a lab, like lots of labs, maybe COVID aside, but lots of labs are always looking for undergrad volunteers. So get there, figure out what you do and don't like about research, and do lots of background study, I guess. Figure out what career paths are available to you. Do you need to do a PhD to do the career that you're looking to do? I think all of those things are really, really important. So my bottom line would be get curious, figure out what you like, and then pursue that.
No, thank you. I know that's super important, I think, from all level perspectives of figuring out what you want to do. I know I struggled coming out of high school being like, going from interior designing to fish. I don't know how I got here, but two different paths and just getting that hands-on experience is super awesome.
Totally. Like I did an undergrad in, environmental geography. Then I worked in a bank, and then I came back to school to do biology. So you never know where your path's going to take you. Yeah.
No, that's perfect. I just want to thank you, Leah, for joining me today and sharing with us the research you are doing and the effect it truly is having on the aquaculture industry. I know it's super positive and will be very helpful for the industry moving forward. Did you have anything else you wanted to share with us, like before we sign out of here?
I don't think so. Just big thank you to you guys for all the work that you're doing. Really appreciate it.
Hey guys, I hope you liked the video today. If you did, please swim on over and hit the like button and subscribe. Comment below if you have any questions you want answered in any of our future videos. Hope to see you next time.